What's up, guys? Welcome to Last Week in the NFL, Week 11. It is our Week 11 recap, and we have another great week in the league. We only had 3 games different this week, but both of our records kind of stunk, so It's whatever. I went 7-7, and you went 6-8. Kind of slumping a little bit for you. That's second straight week under 500.
Yeah, dude, I gotta fix that.
Yeah, so not definitely the second half of the year has been a little rougher for us.
Yeah.
I take my first actual lead the whole thing, and it's week 11, so pretty happy about that. So I think it's the first time I've been up by more than one game. So
I need to fix my stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see how this ends, because I mean, like 161 is what I am, and you're 96 and 65, and those are both pretty good records. So I will definitely be interested to see how close we get it as we get closer and closer to the end. Because next week is the end of we're 3/4 of the way through the season.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But the games we had different. Your win was the Colts beating the Jaguars, and then I had 2 wins, and it was the Jets beating the Redskins and the Raiders beating the Bengals. Mm-hmm. I mean, these were some pretty crappy games to have different. I mean, the Jets Redskins I really wasn't interested in watching, and I really wasn't interested in watching Raiders Bengals either. I mean, I'm sure both those games were football games. I mean,
I'm sure they were football games.
I saw parts of them on Red Zone. I watched the highlights and stuff, but both pretty boring games. But I'll take those wins.
Yeah, and I mean, I picked the Redskins and the Bengals for both of those games, obviously, and once it came around to those games actually being played, I was like, I'm getting these wrong.
Definitely 2 of the worst teams in the league. Yeah. But Jaguars, Nick Foles, didn't really look good.
No.
I think they scored on their first touchdown drive, and from then on out, that was it. And then some other games that were good this weekend. The end of that, we gotta talk about just real quick about that Steelers Browns. I mean, that was almost a week ago now, so it's kind of crazy to think about, but that was just ridiculous. Losing Myles Garrett for the year obviously hurts the Browns so much.
Oh yeah. It's your best defensive player.
You just can't bash people over the head like that. I mean,
there's no place for that in football.
You just can't. I don't care about Browns fans. You can complain to me. I don't care about whether he was trying to pull his helmet off or whatever. Obviously, I'm a Steeler fan, a little biased, but just an egregious thing that happened. I hope that there isn't the same chippiness in the next time they play, because I was done with that crap when the Steelers played the Bengals. It sucks when you go into a game and you're like, I'm actually worried about my star player's health. So I hope that this calms down. Myles won't be playing. We'll see if Mason Rudolph will be playing. I assume yes. But, I'll be curious to see if anyone else tries to cheap shot him or anything. I mean, this is kind of a big deal. They really play each other in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys play each other both times pretty close together, so I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't any love lost.
Obviously, from an actual football perspective, the Browns do stay alive by beating the Steelers. Lost there, probably would have killed them. Yeah. But other than that, nothing too big, or nothing too crazy that happened. But moving on to my game of the week, or not my game of the week, my game of the week as expected, we have Broncos 23, Vikings 27, and this was a weird game. I mean, this was a weird game. The Broncos jump out 20-0 lead at halftime, and then they just slowly just give this game back to the Vikings. Just like there was just this gradual, like, oh my gosh, like they're really losing this right now. In the first half, they dominated them. They shut down Dalvin Cook. They got some turnovers, and then they were hitting big plays. They had 3 30-plus yard completions, I believe, to Noah Fant, Cortland Sutton, and the kid who's Tim Patrick. So, I was like, who's Tim Patrick?
Dude, there was back-to-back drives where there was just somebody getting mossed on that Vikings defense. I was like, jeez, dude.
Side note, Cortland Sutton continues to impress me. He looks good. And he's a tall receiver, too. Like, he could be real good.
Oh, yeah.
So that was at halftime, though. 20-0, dominating them. Third quarter, a little worse. You expect the Vikings to have some fight in them, hopefully. Yeah. They throw a touchdown, Broncos respond to field goal. Now it's 23-7 going into the fourth. Yeah. You're still like, all right, the Broncos have to get this. But no. 3 Viking touchdowns in the fourth quarter, 1 by Dalvin Cook, 2 by Kirk Cousins. And then that's it. They scored 3 TDs in 7 minutes. The Broncos couldn't move the ball anymore, and they came back and won. I mean, and there was some crazy stat, like teams down 20 at halftime, like 0-99, and then it was like Kirk Cousins down in the fourth quarter, 0-10. So like, one had to give.
Yeah, that's crazy.
One had to give, and Kirk got his win. This is big for, Kirk Cousins, like, kind of the narrative surrounding him this year. He came back. He got a big fourth quarter dub. The Vikings have a really good record. They haven't had that letdown game that we're expecting from Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, he came in and he's won a big game this season too, which never happens either.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. The Vikings defense is obviously still good. The Broncos actually they did move the ball a little in the fourth quarter. At the end of the game, 1st and goal at the 4-yard line, down by 4 points. They couldn't score. Yeah, so Vikings defense obviously had to help them out a little bit at the end there. But, as I said, just what a weird game. Broncos are done. Just kill them. Just Vic Fangio. Look forward to the draft, bud.
Oh, yeah.
Good first year.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just a crazy game all around, and the Vikings might be for real.
Yeah,
the Vikings might be for real. Definitely looking like a playoff team.
Moving on to my game that wasn't expected, I had the Saints and the Buccaneers. This is exactly how I thought this game would go. The Saints just pretty much blew the doors off the Buccaneers. Coming off their embarrassing loss last week to the Falcons, I was like, there's no way that it happens twice in a row. And it didn't.
It did not.
Drew Brees came out there for 228 and 3 touchdowns, and Alvin Kamara put up 75 on the ground. Jameis looked like Jameis. I've been kind of surprised he's been up there with like the passing yard leaders and everything this season, but came out there for 313 on 30 of 51 though, which isn't the best. 2 touchdowns and then 4 picks. Yeah, 4 picks. Yeah, that's what you were waiting for. So he went back to looking like Jameis. He now leads the NFL with 18 picks. He leads by 4 over Phillip Rivers, who has 14, and Phillip threw a bunch of picks last night too.
Yeah,
so
jeez. He is. If Phillip would have done that, he would have been way ahead.
If I'm the Bucs, I feel like I still want to maybe move on from Jameis in the offseason. He's put up a couple games this year where it's kind of like, okay, maybe he's still, he actually can play, and then he goes and puts on a game like this. So I think it's a tough decision for the Buccaneers come the offseason, but I guess we'll see what happens with them.
Yeah, I think they start him for the rest of the year just so they can be completely confident to get
him. Whether they want to keep him or not.
If he plays all 16 games, he's going to throw 24 picks.
20, I feel like it's guaranteed that he's throwing at least 24.
I mean? Like maybe more than that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the record for picks in a season is. Yeah. I assume it's something ludicrous though that he probably won't break. But
also a crazy stat too for Michael Thomas. I just saw that he had 94 receptions on the year, while the entire Eagles offense has 93.
Oh my gosh! I saw he also he has more than the entire Ravens offense too.
Oh my gosh.
Or maybe more than just the Ravens wide receivers, because they love throwing to those.
Michael Thomas has been worth the money and then some this season. He
really has.
I mean, I think he's the best receiver in football. He's just been completely unguardable, hence his Twitter handle. But kind of moving on to one of our games that didn't go as expected. I had the Falcons and the Panthers. I had bet on the Panthers to cover or just to win this game, and they clearly did not do that. The Falcons have just looked like a completely different team off this bye week. They came out and smacked the Saints last week, came out and smacked the Panthers this week. I mean, this defense has just done a complete 180.
Yeah, also, back to side note, I just looked it up. It is ridiculous. The most picks in the season was by George Blanda in 1962, and he threw 42 interceptions.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, Jameis isn't that bad.
He's not that bad, thankfully.
Yeah, but
it's still not looking good for him.
Back to you were saying, though. I mean, what do you think they do with Kyle Allen now? Or, I mean, obviously you let him play still, but like...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think you definitely let him finish up the year, but I think it'll bring up a really good QB controversy over the offseason.
Yeah.
It's like, what do we do with Cam? And then if Kyle Allen continues to play as bad as he has, he threw 4 picks this game, too.
Yeah. I think 2 of them in the red zone.
I think you're right.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Which is just, that's, obviously the worst place to throw them.
Yeah, it's terrible. But he just, this last couple games, he just hasn't looked like he has at the beginning of the season, which was on fire. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if teams have been figuring out how to stop him or if he's just regressed somehow, just got off of that hot start. But I think it just comes like this offseason, they're going to have to figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of weird, but like, what happened to Will Greer? Like, when
he must not be doing well at all. I completely forgot about him.
When Cam Newton was hurt, I thought that it might be Will Greer, and I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, okay, like this guy's like an interesting player. You know what I mean? He's no worse than Gardner Minshew. I have to assume. So, I mean, interesting. If it gets to the point later where we see some Will Greer, I'd be interested because Kyle Allen is just. I feel like he's not going to get any better.
Yeah, just after the last couple games, it's kind of hard to see that happen.
Like, we've already seen, like, his peak, which was, like, his first, like, 5 games, where it's, like, he throws for 220 and 2 TDs and no picks. And it's like, all right, like, that's not bad, but if the other side of this is 4 picks and that, then then that is not, the upside is not worth it.
I think a lot of that comes with Christian McCaffrey doing well, too, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of just he led the team. I think he had 120 rushing yards, and then he had, 121 receiving yards and 70 rushing yards, and that led the team in both categories.
Yeah, got behind early. They were like,
yeah, exactly. So once you get down early and you can't just run the ball with McCaffrey, it's like, okay, Kyle, we need you to step up and actually make some throws here. But
I mean, because they gave it to McCaffrey 25 times.
Yeah,
which is obviously a lot, and he had 70 yards rushing, and then 121 receiving on 11 catches, which is like receiver numbers, obviously. It's pretty crazy. But moving on to my game, that did not go as expected. We have Texans 7, Ravens 41. Yeah. And I mean, come on now. I feel like I talk about it every week now. The Ravens just continue to outperform what I thought they were going to be. You know what I mean? They go into that slate where they play the Patriots, the Seahawks, and now the Texans. And they beat all 3 of those teams. Yeah. What? When I predicted at the beginning of the season that the Ravens would be kind of like a middling team, and that wasn't because I thought they were a bad team or anything. It was because I thought that their schedule was really hard. You know, I thought that they were going to lose games to Seattle, to New England, but they haven't. And once again, Lamar Jackson. I knew he was fast. I knew he was shifty, but this is just kind of ridiculous now.
Oh, dude.
He makes defenders look stupid on a nightly basis, or daily basis, almost the way he did it to college defenders.
Yeah.
And that's the part that really gets me. You know what I mean? Is that when when you're watching college and he's running around there back in the pocket and he does the back juke and the dude goes flying, and you're like, okay, Johnny Manziel did that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
But then he comes to the NFL and it's the exact same.
Yeah.
Lamar, I didn't expect him to be this elite of a playmaker. The Ravens literally just destroyed the Texans. The first quarter it was 0-0. And then from then on out, it was just all Ravens. It was the run game. It was Lamar. It was the defense. It was literally everything. Side note: the Marlon Humphrey PI that didn't get overturned. I've been saying for a couple weeks now, just keep the challenge in your pocket when it comes to the PIs, because unless it's egregious, they're not going to overturn it. And I think that
was pretty bad.
I think that one was egregious, and they still didn't overturn it. So I think just don't challenge. Just don't challenge the PI at all.
Yeah, you're just wasting the timeout.
You're just losing the timeout because the refs have maybe not an agenda, but they have an attitude about it. They
don't want to be wrong.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you think that call was wrong? Well, guess what? It wasn't.
Yeah.
It's well, it was, dude. Yeah. It really was. And that's fine, but that was ridiculous. Obviously, it would not have affected the outcome of this game.
Oh no.
Texans might have 14 instead of 7, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
So it was still just egregious that no matter what game that should be called PI. No matter what situation that should be called PI. It just kind of sucks that we implement this rule so plays like that end up being PI. That's the point of the rule, is for egregious ends of the spectrum that are either not called or called, and it sucks, but
I feel like we have a call like this every week too.
Yeah.
It's just dude, how are you missing? How did you not get that with your eyes in real time?
Yeah, too? It's who are they when they're going to review this? What are they I would they should have to rationale it. How was that contact not early?
Yeah.
Tell me. He literally was all over him before the ball got there. How is it not PI? I don't understand it. But not to take anything away from the Ravens defense.
Yeah.
Since they traded for Marcus Peters, I obviously as a Steeler fan, I hated that move when they made it because I thought it was an amazing move, and it has proved to be an amazing move. And he's been so good. He fits in with that defense perfectly. It feels like he's always been a Raven. It sucks. Texans O-line sucks. The Ravens were after him all day.
Yeah.
Jalen Ferguson got his first sack. The guy from LA Tech, all-time leading sack leader. The Ravens This is also the thing about the Ravens defense. They just replace their pass rushers. It doesn't matter who's doing it. It could be Zadarius Smith and Pernell McPhee. It could be Suggs and whoever used to be on the other side from him. Yeah. Or it could be whoever's there now. Jalen Ferguson and Patrick Owusu or whatever. Judon, yeah. Oh, yeah, and Matt Judon. So the Ravens are crazy.
I really can't remember the last time that defense was bad.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's possible.
It's only been like 15 years.
It's crazy.
If maybe, I don't even know about them.
It's so crazy.
Texans, this one might come back to haunt for the AFC South. Ravens, AFC North, pretty much theirs.
Pretty much on
with the Steelers losing to the Browns, it's pretty much theirs.
Yeah.
But moving on to our betting picks, I'm back. I'm back, baby. I went 0-4 the last 2 weeks, and now I have a 1-0-1, my first push, but I'm not mad because it came in a ridiculous fashion.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I had 49ers minus 10, and the Cardinals are down by 4. There's 3 seconds left. I was like, oh, game's over. I'm not even going to watch. You know, I lost this bet. It's whatever. I had a parlay with the Patriots that I ended up doing. I thought I was just screwed. Whatever. But then the Cardinals tried to run, like, you know, a Miami Miracle pitch play, and the ball ends up on the ground, and at, like, the 25-yard line. The Cardinals on 25-yard line, and I'm like, okay, like, the game's over, like, at this point.
Yeah.
And then the ball, like, gets, like kicked flies, and it goes, like, 10 yards the other way, and, like, 3 more people try to get it. Long story short, ends up in the 49ers' hands. Touchdown. They don't kick the extra point because of some rule I don't understand.
Yeah.
The slash I didn't know existed. And minus 10 they push. So, just complete pure luck. I'll take it. No complaints. You know, if that one was pure luck, then my other win was just pure Jameis Winston. Because I also had Saints minus, or not my other win, but my one win. I had Saints minus 5.5. They're up by... Oh, actually, never mind. I didn't even really need Jameis Winston here. I also took the Saints second half minus 3, so that's a completely different story. But they covered pretty easily because Jameis Winston sucks.
Yeah.
He threw a pick 6 to make it when it was a 10-point game. When they could have gone down and had it not covered, throws a pick 6, 17-point game. Pretty much ended it. Thank you, Jameis.
Yeah.
So no complaints from me.
Yeah. I actually went 1-1 again this week. I'm pretty good at being average, apparently. The 2 bets I had was the Ravens minus 4, which obviously was a win. They covered that easily, and we had talked about that game a little bit ago. And then the other one that I lost, I had the Jaguars plus 3, and I had announced this thinking that Jacoby Brissett wasn't playing, and then when he was, I had already said it on air, and I was like, well, that's a loss. So
chalk that one
up.
up. Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I have to say about that one.
All right, there we go. Yeah,
short and concise.
The Jaguars were not able to get it done, and that's about it. It was not from the
all I need to say.
And then moving on to our For You losers. Obviously, the Bengals lost again. Number 1 overall pick is still theirs.
Yeah.
And I chose this guy last week for my For You losers because I kind of felt like I had to last week. But if he keeps putting up these stat lines, I'm going to have to keep doing it. It's Joe Burrow. Looking like he might be the number 1 overall pick. It's kind of crazy. I mean, he just... I'm waiting for him to fall off, and it hasn't happened yet.
It has not happened yet.
He went 32 of 42, 489 yards, 5 TDs. They draw 58 on Ole Miss. Obviously, it's Ole Miss, nothing too crazy, but that stat line's crazy. No hangover from the big win against Bama.
Oh, no.
Easy. He comes in, throws for nearly 505 TDs. You can't ask for much more from your quarterback. Completes nearly 75% of his passes.
Yeah.
Easy. Just came in, did what he had to do. As I said, just he's really been doing the part of the number 1 pick. He's been winning all their games. He's been playing big in those games. They have never won in spite of him. It's always been because of him.
Nothing's phased him so far.
Yeah, he hasn't messed up this year. I guess that last year in the SEC really got him ready because he looks like as I said, different quarterback. I'm very impressed.
Oh yeah. Moving on to my guy, I chose Jonathan Taylor, the running back out of Wisconsin. He had 25 carries for 204 yards and 2 TDs against Nebraska on Saturday. It's his second straight 200-yard rushing game, which is insane. His 3rd overall on the year. He's been a complete workhorse for this team this season. And he's 37 yards from 1,500 rushing yards already, which is also crazy. Obviously, he's one of the best backs in this year's running back class, if not the best still.
Yeah. And there would be some debate.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And he's also improved on his pass catching abilities, too. He has 20 receptions, which obviously isn't a whole lot. But compared to his last 2 seasons, he had 16 receptions total.
Oh, dang.
So, yeah, so he's improved a lot on the receiving end. And then, obviously, he's just that right in between the tackles type of runner.
Don't want to tackle him.
No, like a Zeke type. Don't get in his way.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, he's a beast. His combine will obviously be huge for where he goes in the draft. Mm-hmm. How much slower is he than a guy like ETN? We'll see. Yeah. I still think he's going to run pretty fast.
I do too,
When he gets out into space, people don't catch him from behind.
Mm-mm.
So, obviously a beast. But with that, guys, that's going to be our show. Week 11's in the books. Week 12 coming up, as I said at the top, almost about to be 3/4 of the way through the season. Yeah. Playoffs are getting closer. Every game matters.
Teams are getting desperate.
Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe, guys, and we will see you next week.
See ya.